Hey guys, it's your boy Hot Shot B. We are back once again, and today I have another interesting video for you guys. So today we're going to be going over how strong is Lord Boros, also known as the Dominator of the universe. So I haven't scaled One Punch Man on my channel in a very long time. You know, if you've been around, I used to scale it in the beginning of my career in YouTube, but now that I'm a better power scaler, I will be able to give a better analysis on Boros' power and all that. So, pretty excited to talk about One Punch Man as well on my channel. One Punch Man is a great series. Manga's great. It's a great series. So, can't wait to get into the strength of Boros and how strong he truly is. So, you guys already know the drill. As I make my famous walk to my desk, as I bring out the high IQ Giga Chad brain, it's time to dive into, as I rub my hands together, it's time to dive into how strong Boros truly is. I hope you guys enjoy the video, because it did take me a long period of time to get all this information together. So I did work pretty hard to get on this video, so I hope you guys do enjoy the video. But now let's dive into how strong is Boros. I'll be going over his feats, lore, scaling, speed. Does a narrative support Boros being, as strong as I will present him today? And then we'll be going over how strong Boros is in his various forms, like his armored state, his release Boros state, and then his meteoric burst Boros state. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and now let's dive into it. So before Boros makes his way to Earth, it is implied that he has defeated everybody in the universe. This shows that he has fought a vast amount of people. This shows he has fought a lot of people before his prophecy fight against Saitama. So this is pretty impressive. And then Boros, in his armored form, might I add, is able to take a normal punch from Saitama. This is impressive. Not many characters in the One Punch Man verse can take a normal punch from Saitama. In the One Punch Man compass, it is also stated, it's also mentioned once again that, it's stated he has tremendous power, but what's important is it's also stated that he is known as the Dominator of the universe. So this backs up of what I've been saying so far throughout the video, that it's also stated multiple times that he is the Dominator of the universe. So this backs up what I've been saying in the beginning of the video, that Boros should be a skilled combatant and he should have some experience in battle, because it's very much implied that he has fought many people before his inevitable battle with Saitama. I thought that was an interesting fact about Boros, and some interesting lore about Boros that not too many people cover, so I thought I would cover it in this video. So in the data book, it talks about how Boros has his release form and it has his meteoric burst form, and he should have regenerative healing factors as well. And then the data book also talks about how Boros can also shoot energy blasts. It's also, like I said, it's stated in the data book, and it's also shown to us in the anime and the manga that he can shoot energy blasts. Boros is able to battle and take another punch from Saitama. This is very impressive. I mean, not too many people can take more than a punch from Saitama, and Boros took a second punch. So this is pretty impressive for Boros' scaling. And then release Boros is able to keep up with this suppressed Saitama. He's also actually able to land a hit on this suppressed Saitama. So this is very impressive scaling for Boros. And then we see that Meteoric Burst Boros is able to blitz this suppressed Saitama. So Meteoric Burst Boros is very much implied. Meteoric Burst Boros should be way beyond the amount of power that Saitama was using to fight Release Boros, because, like I said, it is stated in the One Punch Man compass that Saitama is sort of clobbered by Boros. And it's also stated in the manga that Saitama did take damage. So this also makes sense, as in what I said, that Meteoric Burst Boros should be a level beyond Release Boros, because suppressed Saitama was using a level power to fight Release Boros, and then when Boros went Meteoric Burst, that is why Saitama shows a shock reaction to Boros' speed and power before he got hit. So when Saitama jumps back from the moon, like once Saitama jumps from the moon back to Earth, to the battlefield, we see that Saitama actually takes the fight much more seriously. He's trying a little bit more, he's punching and landing more hits on Boros, showing that, okay, he fought Release Boros. Meteoric Burst Boros is way stronger than the initial form. Saitama's like, alright, there's a noticeable difference in power. I'm going to actually start trying a little bit more, because the level of power that I was using to fight Release Boros is not enough for Meteoric Burst Boros. Hope I clarified that with you guys. So, in the data book, it is stated that when Boros unleashes his collapsing Star Roaring Cannon, which is stated to be able to destroy the planet in the data book, and also in the anime, it's also stated that he can destroy the planet. Like I said, Boros should easily have planet level scaling. This is normally where people cap about Boros. Like normally people say, okay, Boros is just planet level, but now I'm going to go into why Boros is way stronger than you think, and he's actually a lot stronger than even I took him for. And I'll go into that later in the video of how, like, for many years, I didn't think Boros was at the level that he will be at, once I've shown everything about Boros. But now I'm going to get into the juicier part, the more why Boros is far stronger than even I took him for, after rereading the One Punch Man manga, analyzing the Monster Association arc, and the amount of people that he scales above. So let's get into it. So it is stated twice that Boros versus Saitama is the strongest versus the strongest. It is very much implied that Boros, at this moment in time, he's the strongest person Saitama has fought at this point in time. It is stated in the One Punch Man data book that it is the strongest in the universe versus humanity's strongest. So it's very much implied that Saitama and Boros are the two strongest people during this period of time, right? So, and it also states in the data book as well that Boros has rivaling abilities to this suppressed Saitama that he fights. So this definitely backs up that Boros was a lot more relative to this suppressed Saitama than you think. And then, so this would mean that Boros should scale way above Tatsumaki. Like, he should be well beyond Tatsumaki. Like I said, it's stated twice that, Boros versus Saitama is the strongest versus the strongest. And then also, the data book does, note that he has rivaling abilities to the suppressed Saitama that he fights. So, now I'm going to get into why it's important that Boros scales way beyond Tatsumaki. So now let's get into it. So we know in the Monster Association arc that after it's all said and done, Tatsumaki should scale above everybody except for a few characters in this arc. So Tatsumaki should scale above Sage Centipede, who has a small planet level scaling, and then King Orochi has just with his regular weaker attacks, just his regular attacks have been calced at small planet level. So this means when Orochi uses his blasts that are much more powerful, he should be in the planet level scaling wise in terms of attack potency. Then we see Psychos Orochi is way more powerful than King Orochi, because she's able to fight Tatsumaki. And then we see that Tatsumaki should massively scale above everybody that I have listed so far up to this point. And then we see that a fatigued Tatsumaki, right? She's fatigued at this point, right? A fatigued Tatsumaki should be 10 times stronger than Psychos Orochi, because she is able to completely one-shot a being who is far stronger than King Orochi, who has planet level scaling. And Psychos Orochi stated that she thought the person who beat King Orochi was fodder, right? So she thought she could handle that level of power easily. And we see this fatigued Tatsumaki one-shot her. So Tatsumaki should be 10 times stronger than Psychos Orochi, which means a fully healthy Tatsumaki should be way beyond this. Now, I'm going to start giving information and evidence of why I think this is the case. So we see that I'm gonna call this version of Gargoyle because come on, my man looks like a gargoyle. Like, come on now. But so this form of monster Garo, the gargoyle one, right, should be way stronger than Psycho Sorochi, and he should probably be stronger than a fatigued Tatsumaki, right? We see when Gargoyle Garo or this form of monster Garo fights Saitama, right? He is completely one-shotted by suppressed Saitama with a normal punch, right? Like completely one-shotted. Suppressed Saitama normal punch, okay? Why this is important. Tatsumaki fights Saitama, right? Like her and Saitama have a fight, right? And Saitama states that she is pretty tough. Why this is... First of all, this is great scaling for Tatsumaki, but this is, we're not talking about Tatsumaki in this way, we're talking about Boros. Why this is important is because Saitama fights multiple versions of Monster Garo, especially the one I'm talking about, and he doesn't even state that he's pretty tough, but Saitama felt the need to note that, hey Tatsumaki, you're pretty tough compared to everybody who I have fought. You're pretty tough. So this would mean a healthy Tatsumaki should be 10 times stronger than herself from when she was fatigued. So she should be, like I said, she should be 10 times stronger than herself from when she is fatigued fighting Psycho Sorochi. Now, why this is important, right? In order to destroy a planet, you need 2.487 times to the 1032 joules of energy to destroy a planet. So Tatsumaki is 100 times stronger than this. Like, she's stronger than a being who can destroy a planet, right? Which is Orochi, right? So she should be 100 times stronger than this, right? And then Boros in his armored form Boros, right? Even without using his release form or meteoric burst Boros, right? He should be above Tatsumaki, or at the very least be on the same, or he should at least be on par with like Tatsumaki, but he should be stronger than a full power Tatsumaki. I think the gap between all Boros' forms, I think there's a 10 times difference in my opinion. I think the gap between Armored Boros and Release Boros is a 10 times amp, and then Release Boros and Meteoric Burst Boros is a 10 times difference in power and speed. The reason why I think this is because Saitama basically overpowers Armored Boros with a punch, but Release Boros is able to battle Saitama, and then the Meteoric Burst Boros is able to completely overpower a suppressed Saitama that was probably like... That suppressed Saitama that like Meteoric Burst Boros was able to blitz was probably like at the Release Boros level. And now Meteoric Burst Boros is able to blitz this suppressed Saitama, so yeah, this is very good scaling for Boros. So since Tatsumaki is 100 times above planet level, and Meteoric Burst Boros is 100 times stronger than her, this would give Boros dwarf star level scaling. Like, this is crazy. Because, like I said, Tatsumaki is stronger than a being who's planet level, right? She should be 100 times stronger than a being who's planet level. And I said Meteoric Burst Boros is 100 times stronger than her. So this would give Boros dwarf star level scaling. I think this is consistent. And then in the One Punch Man compass, it states Boros in his release form has destroyed planets, and it is also stated in One Punch Man compass that Boros can destroy a star as well. Now, I already know, I can hear people, I can hear your voice right now. Like, you're like, Hotshot, come on, this can't be true, right? Now, I have disagreed with this for many years. Many years. Even I did not think Boros is that strong, right? For the last like 5 years, right? I think since like, I guess 2017 to like, I guess early 2023, I did not think Boros was this strong. But after rereading the series, looking at the feats and jumps in power that characters make in the Monster Association arc, I do think there is enough evidence to scale Boros. From what I have provided so far, I believe there is a consistent scaling that backs up Boros being a star level. I do agree that there is a consistent scaling for Boros being a star level, right? So now that I said that, I think the feats and statements and scaling that I provided supports Boros being, dwarf star level to star level. Like, it does back up that statement in the One Punch Man compass that even I have discredited. I kind of believe it now from analyzing like how strong said characters are, and then now remembering and analyzing that Boros is stronger than all of these people except for like a few characters in this arc, right? So like I said, I agree. I think Boros is dwarf star level to star level right now. I think it's actually consistent now. Now I'm going to go into, from a narrative point of view, does the narrative of One Punch Man support this scaling? So let's go over it. So Saitama states Boros is strong twice. Saitama states this twice. He states Boros is strong twice in their fights. He, like I said, he says you are strong, and then Saitama states you are really strong, right? So Saitama states twice that Boros is a strong opponent, right? Then Saitama states, that it's almost a real fight between him and Meteoric Burst Boros, right? So this is very good scaling for Boros in terms of the narrative department. Now, Murata, the creator of One Punch Man, talked about that Boros and Awakened Garo / Cosmic Garo, because that's who Murata calls Garo, right? So we as the fandom, right? We called this form of Garo Cosmic Garo, but before Garo even had this name, Murata at first called him Awakened Garo, because you had Monster Garo and then you had Awakened Garo, right? So why this is important is that Murata states twice, might I add, that Boros and Garo should be comparable in power, right? He states this twice. Now, obviously, since Cosmic Garo has performed some crazy ass shit, to his name, this isn't the case, but it does support from a narrative perspective that Boros should be relative to the initial Garo that appears. Like the initial Garo, Boros should be relative to this form of Cosmic Garo. The initial one, before he grows in power and adapts, Boros should be relative to him. And then we see, like I said, Meteoric Burst Boros should be relative to the initial version of Cosmic Garo. But when he first appears, before Garo performs like his crazy ass like feats and shit, and then like we see from a panel to panel, if you guys are looking in the video right now, we see when Cosmic Garo throws his nuclear like fission punch, and then like comparing it to Boros' punch, it very much from a narrative perspective narratively it does support Boros being comparable, and he should be comparable to the initial Cosmic Garo before he does his crazy ass shit, right? So I do think from a narrative perspective that Boros, he should be comparable in power to the initial Garo before Garo performs his crazy ass shit. So I would say, in terms of attack potency, I think given the characters Boros scales above just in his armored form alone, and the fact that he has two other forms, he should be at his Meteoric Burst form, he should be in the Dwarf Star to Star level in terms of scaling, based on the amount of characters that he scales above in just his armored state alone. So this is pretty impressive. And then, like I said, from a narrative perspective, he should be relative to the initial Garo before Garo, before he does all his crazy ass shit. And then also wanted to tell you guys, fun fact, that it is actually stated, in the manga that, Cosmic Fear Mogaro, Murata also calls him, this is Awakened Garo. So in that interview, this backs up of what Murata was saying of like, this is also actually called Awakened Garo. I don't know if too many of y'all know this, but we as fans, we call him Cosmic, Fear Garo, but like it also states he is also called Awakened Garo as well. So I just thought that was pretty interesting. Fun fact for you guys. So now let's get into speed for Boros. So we see that Awakened Cockroach can move faster than the speed of light. Like he tells Genos, like, yo, even if you could attack me at the speed of light, like you can't really hit me, right? So this means Awakened Cockroach should be able to move at light speed. And then we see that Orochi is able to blitz this Awakened Cockroach. So this would mean his tentacles should be 10 times light speed. And then, it's also stated that in the data book that Flashy Flash can move at light speed. And then it is also stated in, the manga panel as well, that like Flashy Flash can move faster than light. So it is very much implied that, there is like consistent light speed scaling on One Punch Man, but we already know this, right? We already know. I'm not gonna dive too much into the speed meta for One Punch Man. That's a conversation for another video, but I'm just giving brief glimpses of like, yo, these characters can move at FTL light speed scale. Right now, let's go into some more impressive shit. Okay, so Flashy Flash, Platinum S, and Monster Garo are able to make constellations in the sky, and this has been calced at hundreds of times the speed of light. So Boros should scale above them in his like base form alone in terms of speed in his armored state, right? And then we see, so Boros should scale to the speed just in his armored form alone. He should scale to the speed. And then we see like Suppressed Saitama, like he's able to blitz armored Boros. Like we see Suppressed Saitama blitz armored Boros, but then Release Boros is able to keep up with this man. So like this also backs up that like yes, Boros even in his armored like state and in his release state, like he should be faster than Flashy Flash, Platinum S, and Monster Garo in like the initial feat that they perform. Because come on, man, he's making Saitama like actually block and like actually fight. So like he should be faster than him. Like I said, he should be faster than him in his armored state alone. But I digress. And then we see Meteoric Burst Boros. Like once he goes into Meteoric Burst, like I said, Saitama was able to blitz armored Boros. We see Boros when he goes Release Boros, he's able to actually fight Saitama, this Suppressed Saitama on an even playing field. And then when he goes Meteoric Burst Boros, he's able to blitz this Saitama who was probably at Release Boros level, because that's who he was fighting. And then we even see that Saitama shows like a shock factor. And like, oh, he's shocked at like the level of speed that Boros was performing, right? Not saying like, yo, Boros is faster than Saitama. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Boros is shown that like he should be a blitz level beyond Release Boros, given like how Saitama was shocked at his speed, and then he was just fighting Release Boros. Now he's fighting Meteoric Burst Boros. It's pretty much implied in terms of speed there is like a pretty like big gap in power between Release and Meteoric Burst, right? So like I said, I think Meteoric Burst Boros, I think Meteoric Burst Boros, like in terms of a multiplier, I think it should be 100 times multiplier from his armored state, because like I said, Saitama was able to blitz armored Boros, so like so Suppressed Saitama was able to blitz armored Boros, so that you gotta be 10 times faster than somebody to blitz them. And then like I said, Release Boros is able to keep up with this Saitama, and then we see Meteoric Burst Boros able to blitz this Suppressed Saitama. So so in terms of a multiplier for the Meteoric Burst form, it should be 100 times multiplier, right? So Meteoric Burst Boros should be thousands of times light speed. You know, I've been saying this for a long time, but like the fight between Boros and Saitama was a lot faster than you think. It's a lot faster than you think, and it scales a lot higher in terms of speed than you think, given the fact that the amount of characters that Boros scales above just in his armored state alone. So this should give Boros massively faster like plus levels of speed. So like I said, you know, the Meteoric Burst form, it is a big gap in power between the release form and Meteoric Burst form. So like I said, overview of the speed scaling for Boros. Boros should have massively FTL plus levels of speed. And then it also is stated in the manga that, like, you know, once we also see that like Saitama still, his jaw is still up from like Boros's punch, and Boros is still able to like move, like out, like he's still like Saitama still has his chin up after the initial like punch of Boros, I believe. And then it stated in the manga that like in his Meteoric Burst like form, it gives him like it boosts all his attributes to beyond his body's like physical limit. So it's very much implied that the Meteoric Burst form is a big amp. And like I said, Boros should be massively FTL plus levels of speed. So to give an overview of where I think Boros scales, I think Boros in his armored form, his armored state, he should have planet level plus. Like that's his attack potency, planet level plus, given that he scales above a healthy Tatsumaki slightly. And then release Boros he should have large planet level like attack potency, given like in terms of like the gap between armored and release, it should be a 10 times like multiplier. And like I said, Boros is already on like the higher end of planet plus, and then you give him like a 10 times amp, so he should be large planet level. And then for Meteoric Burst Boros, in terms of attack potency, he should be dwarf star level to star level. I do agree, after rereading the series, analyzing the amount of characters that Boros scales above, and the narrative that backs up Boros, I do agree that he does have dwarf star level to star level of scaling. I do actually agree with the statement from the One Punch Man Compass that there is a consistent scaling for Boros being a star level from the feats I provided, the scaling, and from a narrative perspective. And then in terms of speed, you know, armored Boros, he should be massively FTL, release should be massively FTL, and then Meteoric Burst Boros should be massively FTL, and then Boros should be able to move thousands of times the speed of light, you know, given like he's able to stack on 100 times multiplier from his like armored state. So yeah, but hope you guys enjoyed the video. It took me a long time to get this video done, you know, so hope you guys enjoyed the video. I can't wait to talk about more One Punch Man scaling and give you guys more information on One Punch Man scaling and present it to you, because I just love talking about One Punch Man. It's a great series, and you know, can't wait for more scaling in the near future. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section below. Please like, comment, subscribe. This is your boy, How Should I Be, and we're out. Peace.